a beautiful day, and I thank you all for taking the time to come to our rally today. Before we start, let's sing our national anthem in unison.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all our sons' command. With glowing hearts we see thee ride, the true north strong and free. Far and far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Woo! That was awesome. Thank you. I want to go over our October schedule, as there are a couple things happening that some may not be aware of. Let's start with Tuesday, October 10th. There will be a public hearing in Victoria County in Ganesh at Celtic Lodge in reference to the property taxes to pay for local improvements. A local improvement charges bylaw. It's quite serious, and rumor has it that Amanda McDougall will be doing the same thing here in CBRM. This meeting starts at 5 until 7 p.m. Some of the questions being posed by the residents of Victoria County are as follows. What are local improvements and local improvement charges? A local improvement is a new or an extension to an existing municipal water, sewer, or street improvement. Local improvement charge is the cost to the property owner receiving benefit from the improvement. Victoria Council is pursuing an interest in charges to these types of costs and has passed a draft bylaw. Who pays for local improvement charges? As drafted, all properties which front a road on which a municipal service will be installed or extended would be levied a local improvement charge. If a new lot is created after the service is installed on that same road in the municipal service, it too will be levied the local improvement charge. Why do I have to pay a local improvement charge when they weren't charged in the past? Municipal systems are becoming more expensive to construct, maintain, operate, and replace. While most of the capital expenses is still borne by the municipality, a relatively small contribution from the property owner who will directly benefit from the improvement is also required. Municipalities across Nova Scotia have similar requirements. What level of support is required for a municipality to consider a local improvement? The municipality would require 2/3 of the property owners affected by a proposed local improvement to express support. It will be considered. Those are just some of the issues that will be discussed at this meeting, and I urge everyone in Victoria County at least to attend this meeting. I plan to attend, so perhaps we could have a carpooling so we can get as many people there as possible. I will post something online about it. Okay, moving on. Thursday, October 12th, will be another Keep Your Children Out of School Day by the American group called Unteach the Overreach. It's a worldwide call out to action to resist gender education. The purpose of this event is to have all parents review their child's school's inclusion policy. In Nova Scotia, it's under Equity and Inclusion Education, and it mentions lots about inclusion and affirmation. I have a couple copies here if anybody wants one, as well as a couple copies of parental notices to their school that their child will not be attending school on that day. So if anybody wants any, they're up front here. That will make a great segue to the next World Million March for Children, Stop the War on Our Kids, being held in the United States, Canada, and the world stage on Saturday, October 21st. Again, we meet here at City Hall at noon, and we march at 1. Parents have rights. Next news, I believe it is newsworthy enough to be added to our schedule. On Tuesday, October 17th, in Port Hawkesbury Provincial Court at 9:30 a.m., there will be a court hearing against Mike Toomey for uttering threats to Jonathan McLeod from Cheticamp. So if anyone wants to go, maybe we can do a carpool if there is enough interest. I myself will be going for sure. He is a nemesis to this group and has been a thorn in our members' butter for a very long time. And we're hoping there's still some justice. Personally, I do not believe there is anymore. But that's my own opinion. Just saying. Now, all that said, let's talk about our government and the House of Commons. Since Canada is in the world news again, we must ask the question, is Parliament, is it a House of Commons, or just a place to honor Nazis? Before giving this Nazi Ukrainian, Canadian at that, a standing ovation, he was declared a Ukrainian and Canadian hero. Wow. Yaroslav Hunka was one of the many volunteer members of the unit that was mostly made up of ethnic Ukrainians and commanded by Nazis, including Heinrich Himmler, who formed the group. The Waffen SS was a Nazi military branch responsible for the murder of Jews, and it was involved in various atrocities, largely against Poles, Jews, and Ukrainians. So, Hunka's Waffen Grenadier SS unit was declared a criminal organization during the Nuremberg trials and was responsible for the mass murder of innocent civilians with a level of brutality and malice that is unimaginable. The unit was renamed the 1st Ukrainian Division before surrendering to the Western Allies in 1945. It's not the first time that Canada paid homage to this man, who is 98 years old right now. In 2007, Hunka received a Medal of Merit from the Ukrainian Canadian Congress. They all knew who he was, and shame on them. Trudeau cannot blame Canadian people for this one. It begs the question as to how many former Ukrainian SS men are in Canada. Well, the Simon Wiesenthal Center has charged that Canadian government admitted more than 2,000 members of a notorious Ukrainian 14th Waffen Grenadier SS unit or division in the 50s. This unit supplied guards for the Nazi concentration camps. Almost all the suspected war criminals and collaborators have lived openly under their own names in Canada for 47 years. Imagine. Back in the day, there was also much controversy when these Ukro-Nazis were brought into Canada in the late 40s and 50s. For various reasons, the government supported and protected them. Their adage, the Cold War, in which Nazis were now friends and the Russians the enemy. With great loyalty, Canada has always protected Ukrainian Nazis. Even our current Deputy Prime Minister, the eminence grise behind Trudeau, Chrystia Freeland, her grandfather ran a pro-Nazi newspaper in Ukraine during those years in which Hunka was a hero. Her uncle has just published a book defending the actions of the 1st Galatian Division, which was another name used for that 14th SS Division, and whitewashing all their atrocities as unsubstantiated, unproven unproven in any court of law, and therefore claims of Ukrainian brutality are nothing but, you guessed it, Russian propaganda. Canada today is a monstrous woke machine, finely tuned to yield the globalist reset, the new world order of green economies and eugenics, aka gender equality, transgenderism, euthanasia. This machine was constructed by the wildly popular Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau, the father of Justin, and some say in name only. Globalism is a fresh iteration of Nazism, for the two have the same core. They vary only in detail because they must fit into the time period in which they exist. And what is the core of globalism? Less and better humans, eugenics, an earth purified from pollution of human activity, environmentalism. Nazism and globalism's end result is the same: the annihilation of humanity. Canada is the chief architect and conspirator in this globalist program, and thus Canada is now a Nazi state by another name, democracy and our values, for it seeks to achieve what eugenics and environmentalism will bring about, which is death and a green hell. To be clear, in the current Canadian political scene, all parties are complicit in a broader program of globalism. All will actively work to serve it well. It matters little whether the label is liberal, conservative, green, socialist, even communist. None can escape the machine, that monstrous woke machine. Rather, none want to. And Canada is eager to take this machine worldwide, for it has just launched a UN declaration to fight disinformation. Information integrity is essential to help ensure the strength of the democratic process and to protect fundamental rights. Yeah. Only people applauding Waffen SS veterans can really know what the truth is, right? Everyone else is the enemy. So Canada promotes being a democratic country, but today our democracy is equal to Nazism. It's a monstrous machine, all right. No one wins right now. Trudeau has no problems giving all our money away to the Ukraine while our own country is burning. Excuse me. How does he help us? How does he have Canadians' backs? By having Canada the only country in North America that charges its provinces a carbon tax. It's hard to get any justice anymore because the system is not for the people. Trudeau has Canadians' backs, so much so that violent crime is on the rise in Canada. There are almost too many horrible stories in the news to mention. Random stabbings, targeted killings, all-out murder sprees. What do each of these cases have in common? Every single one of those perpetrators in these horrific events has been caught multiple times and then released back into the community, into our children's community. The Liberal NDP coalition of pro-criminal politicians created this mess by setting the lax rules surrounding bail and parole. By design, these politicians have intentionally loosened the reins on Canada's most prolific violent offenders. These are robbers, rapists, and murderers. Many things divide this country, and the federal Liberals are trying desperately to find new ways to divide Canadians every day. But I know for certain that Canadians are united in their love for their families, their communities, and the cities in which they are invested. We the people, by the people, for the people. A community-based decision-making. Collaboratively, a new political system is needed. So this so-called democracy that Trudeau yips and yaps on all about all the time, well, he does completely the opposite of what he preaches. The self-interest mantra of our current political decision-making system, party politic is completely broken. Their disenfranchisement is reflected by voter apathy at the national, provincial, and municipal levels. When you have a prime minister winning while 68% of the voters did not vote, people sense that the system is broken and conclude with why bother? People's vote, as they say, and how decisions affect them is not being represented. The majority of voters are not voting. The democracy people thought they had does not exist. The harsh reality is indicative of the poor voter turnout. When a decision is proposed by decision makers, it must involve the input and discussion of those affected by that decision. We the people, by the people, for the people, as a community-based decision making would. In central decision making, there is no consult with community. We are seeing more and more of that, not only in Ottawa, but in CBRM, with all their behind closed doors meetings. We know that our government doesn't speak for all Canadians. He only speaks on behalf of those Canadians who agree with him and comply with his every command. When Trudeau says he knows what Canadians need and want, he has no idea what Canadians need or want, since he will not listen to us Canadians. Look at our own province. We went from Liberal Premier to Conservative Premier. Within 2 weeks, he broke his first promise that his government would not impose a vaccine passport. Has he fixed our healthcare system yet? No, he has made it worse. Houston has already added $1.4 billion to the provincial debt and plans to add another $4 billion over the next 3 years. Houston and Trudeau have lots in common. Not listening to their constituents, not listening to their people is a huge one. They're all about the same thing, wealth and control, and they are doing their darndest to achieve it at our expense, at the expense of our freedom in every form. As MEP Christine Anderson says, you cannot comply your way out of tyranny. I cannot say you cannot vote your way out of tyranny either. Not in this current system that is designed for them, not we the people. So we the people need to unite in mass non-compliance. Say no to the digital ID. Do not participate in their global agenda. Remember, I say this all the time, but until you truly believe it, they do not care about you. The unelected globalist organizations who think they know what is best for you couldn't care less about you. They don't care about the children. They don't care about the planet. They only care about wealth and control. They want to own everything and for you to own nothing, because we are nothing but useless human eaters who take up space. Enough is enough. Stand up and say no. Use your voice and let them know you will not comply to their tyranny, to their dictatorship. Myself, I will not comply. What about you?
I will not comply.
I will not comply.
I will not comply.
I will never comply.
I will never comply.
I will never comply.
I will never comply.
Will you comply? Hoo-ah, fellow freedom fighters, hoo-ah. Thank you.